Hi, my name is Catherine Fry, and I am the CEO and president of Mediafy Communications Group, and I'm also the host of Chat with Cat. And today, I have the pleasure of interviewing one of my dear friends, Christi Broom. And Christi works for herself, but I know her in the capacity of representing Goodpaster Painting, who is one of her clients. So, hi, Christi. How are
Hi,
you
thank
today?
you. I'm happy to be here. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. So I know that you work for yourself. Do you consider yourself to be like a media buyer, an independent media buyer? Would that describe what you do?
I think I would say I'm more of a consultant.
Okay.
Media buyer is definitely one of my skill sets and
Hmm.
capabilities. But I like to say that I look at the bigger picture in order
Hmm.
to advise on whether it's a media buy or all the other components in this market now.
Hmm. So I know that you and I have met several times in your capacity as like an advisor. What I don't know is what led you to where you are today. I don't know your whole story. So obviously you came there was a journey for you. So can you kind of give us an insight of how you became an expert in your field?
Well, thank you. And I enjoy very much collaborating with you since we have been able to meet. I think my biggest, honestly, um, I would say talent is relationship building. And
Yes,
I
I
very
agree.
much
Yeah.
value that, including with you. So I actually grew up here in Chattanooga and I graduated from UTC, UT Chattanooga, and I had an idea of a different career I wanted to pursue, and it didn't exactly work out. So, or at least I changed my mind. And
Yeah.
so, after a number of different trials, I landed in the world of marketing and I
Mhm.
thrived and loved it. I wasn't ever really a great salesperson. I was just a great connector. And I
Yeah.
just felt fulfilled in that. So I started my journey. I sold radio advertising for many years. Then I
Okay.
sold some print advertising,
Hmm.
all here in Chattanooga. After that, I went and worked for a client, and it was a financial services company. So,
Oh,
what I
that's
didn't
kind
know
of
and I learned
yeah.
later was a lot of my job was dealing with compliance because there's a lot of compliance
Oh,
in that, which is very important, but it wasn't
yeah.
that exciting. And then I went to work for a home remodeling business locally
Hmm.
and subsequently an agency. And within all these venues, I learned a considerable amount of, buying, selling, what the business owners' challenges are, what the agency, the benefits and the drawbacks to it. Um, and then in the midst of it all, as you know, the landscape of advertising and digital and web
Totally
presence
changed. Yeah,
is
completely changed.
changing at a lightning speed. So
Yeah.
I found a niche at one point, uh, 4 or 5 years ago, where I was just like, you know what? I just really want to be an advocate for both parties. I want to
Mhm,
help
mhm,
the business owner who knows that they need a digital presence or a marketing presence, whatever. But I also want to help the agencies and the media partners
mhm,
because they need an advocate as well. So I just
mhm.
really
Both
found a
sides
niche
do.
as a go between, honestly. And I help the clients to understand how you create a budget and a strategy and the reasons for that and the expectations for that. And sometimes it's a media buy, but sometimes you just need a working website.
Mhm, mhm.
Sometimes you need to have brand standards. Sometimes it's just an audit of your overall performance and projected plan. And I
Was
just
there
feel like don't go
was there
backward.
was there
You
a
have
turning
to go
point in
forward.
your journey? Was there a turning point?
And what do you mean by that specifically?
Well, I know that you said that, and I know you worked for a specific contractor, and then I remember that ended, and because I think they went out of business, right? They literally went out of business, and so that's when I mean, I think perhaps that might have been a turning point for you because that was
Yeah,
when you were launched on your own, and you became your
well,
own
that's
boss,
true.
literally, right?
It wasn't like a long-term goal to work for
Mhm,
myself.
mhm,
I was kind of open to it. But
mhm.
when that one business that I had worked for a while, they actually sold to just like a bigger franchise type
Yeah,
company.
right.
And I had a choice to make, do I want to go get another job with an agency or another company? And there was a lot of opportunities, thankfully. But it just kind of happened organically that people
Mhm,
reached out to me and I could
mhm,
help them. And then it felt like I was on the right path. So it just kind of happened in that way.
mhm. So once you started down that path and you became, I guess you could say, self-employed, um, were there any mistakes that you learned from? And if so, what's a mistake that taught you the most?
Well, um, I think I would like to approach that with maybe challenges because I think everyone
Challenges.
makes
Yes,
mistakes.
right. That's a better
Um,
way of looking at it. Yeah.
and I try to meet with every client with realistic expectations.
Mhm.
I try to say in the first meeting, I don't claim to know everything. I
Mhm.
don't. I want this to be collaborative.
Mhm.
I would like to bring you recommendations with my,
Mhm.
experience, um, just thoughtful uh, research, but I don't claim to know it all. And I continue to learn, and I certainly don't
Mhm.
know your business. So this is a collaborative,
Is it
growing type deal.
definitely. Yeah.
Um, so the challenges sometimes I would think are just managing expectations and meeting
Mhm.
people where they are. Most of the time when I gain a client, they've been in business for a little while or maybe a long while. And so they have some marketing in place, but it's just not really strategic or working.
Mhm.
So helping them to understand how you start from the beginning and get a strategy, make it work. Like advertising marketing, everybody wants a quick fix and
It's
it's
not
not
that way. It's not
very
realistic, right, and that's where
no.
coming into managing clients' expectations is important. What habit has had the biggest impact on your success?
I don't know if this is the biggest, but I feel like it's important. I
Mhm,
think, and I'm older now, it would have been different if I was 22. I
mhm.
think
Sure.
recognizing what I do well and recognizing my
Mm,
shortfalls and connecting and building relationships with people that fill that skill set where I lack
mhm,
and working with them seamlessly. So where I don't write code and build websites.
mhm,
I'm
mhm,
not a videographer. I but I know some really darn good ones and I can get
mhm,
everything in place to communicate that. Same for,
mhm.
websites. I know
Yeah.
enough about it to help kind of facilitate it, but I know that I'm not that person.
But you're the communicator and you're the connector and you bring people together, and as a result you're able to greatly help your clients. So that's wonderful, and I think that that's great. Now, we had discussed that the landscape of marketing has changed lightning fast and is still changing. Now you're out there, you're on the front line. What trends should people be paying attention to right now in marketing?
So, a big overview, in my opinion, would be marketing's always like it's a risk. I mean, it is to some degree,
Of course, it's
but
gambling in a sense. Yeah. I
a
mean,
calculated risk.
yeah, sure.
And years ago, we used to be able to use past data, consumer reports,
Right.
projections, all
Yeah.
these things, and make a calculated. Ever since really like COVID happened and then our past
Mhm.
political landscapes, nothing makes sense. You can't use
Mhm.
past data. You can't believe the research that you see. It's literally a crapshoot ever
Yep.
more than it was. And
Yep.
so trying to give my clients confidence in, okay, we've got to still make a plan and it's got to be
Mhm.
long term, even though
Mhm.
it's obviously not as confident as before, but that's what you do. You adjust. And just really where I used to probably dive into the data or pay attention to certain things every once in a while because it was kind of
Mhm.
autopilot. I'm doing it all of the time now because not only does data change every day, but things break. There's glitches. I mean, you just cannot have confidence that things are going to work as you
Right.
expect.
I agree. Now, for someone starting a business, what beginner advice would you give them, and especially in regard to their marketing?
Well, certainly it depends on the business or the industry. But I think,
Let's focus on like a service-based business, perhaps like painters or plumbers or maybe an electrician.
well, I think you would agree with me on the fun part of advertising and marketing is
Mhm.
telling your story. You're creative and,
Yeah.
having whatever cool ads or brand campaign.
Mhm. Right.
In
Cool logo.
2026, if you do not have a working website that search engines such as Google will
Mhm.
recognize, if you
Mhm.
do not have your directory listings up to date, if you are not going to show up in a search optimization, whether you're spending extra money or not, you literally cannot advertise. It's
Mhm. I agree.
impossible. You have to have a digital footprint that's working, that's
Mhm.
recognized, that's valid, that's
Yep.
up to date. Because if not, you're inviting people to find your competitor. Literally,
Right.
that's what happens because we are in the age of, let's say I'm out in my yard today and my neighbor hands me a business card and says, this is the best tree service or whatever
Yeah.
it is that we're talking about. And
In the
it
world. This is the best. Yeah.
that is a warm lead if I ever knew one, right?
Right.
Well,
Yes.
that is still a place where someone's going to come back and type in that company. They're going to look it
Correct.
up. And if you're not there, they may find someone else.
They're
You
gonna call someone else.
have a
Yes.
digital footprint. If it's the warmest lead or it's a cold lead, I think that's where COVID really changed us because I think before it was kind of like people's habits. But when everyone was stuck at home for that long period of time, it doesn't
Mhm.
matter if you're 20, 25, 65, or 85. You had no other choice but to type it in. Well,
Yep,
you do
get on that
that
computer.
for 2 years,
Yep,
that's your
yep,
new habit. And
and
so
that's what
it
everyone's
doesn't
doing now.
matter.
Yeah,
They're gonna look it up.
I agree, absolutely. Now, that kind of leads into another question. So, there were so many people that were stuck at home, like you said, for 2 years, and there was no swimming, and if you went out to eat, you had to wear a mask, and we were all very isolated, and the children were isolated, and now they have social problems, and now there's so many people working from home, and they're still working from home. So, what about that work life balance? Now, I know that you're self employed, but you work a lot. So, how do you strike that work life balance? And then, how do you suggest that other people do the same?
Well, first off, I don't have it down, so I'm not gonna make
You seem, well, to me, Christy, you seem really together. So, and I know you have children, and I know that you are able to handle it all, and so that's why I ask, because you have struck some kind of a balance that many of us have not been able to do.
You know,
So,
I think I do work from home, yes. However, because I have my clients and I
mhm,
have media partners, agency
mhm,
partners, I have
mhm,
meetings throughout the day. Many are in person. I will go out and do video shoots or go out and I have constant meetings, so I feel like I'm connected with people.
mhm,
I know plenty of folks that are really stuck working from home, sitting behind a computer all day. I couldn't do that. Um, I I'm grateful to manage my calendar because I am a single mom, and sometimes I can work around certain schedules to be there for them. But
mhm.
I just think I have the best of both worlds where I do get to interact and have that in person type.
Yeah.
It's always different and chaos, which actually I
You
I
thrive in it. You
thrive
thrive in
on
it,
it.
don't you? Yeah, you do. I know
I
you do. It's
thrive
wonderful.
on what's today's gonna bring. I don't know. And then something's gonna break, or somebody calls and their account was hacked, and this is somebody's emergency at this moment, or this commercial didn't work, and just going with the punches. I kind of
It's almost like
okay
you're
with
a crisis resolution specialist in many ways. You help businesses deal with crises. I mean, in many cases, and you're a
Yeah,
specialist.
a lot of times I can come up with the answer, but if I can't, I know someone that can.
Yeah.
And I'm obsessed with solutions. Like, I don't care if it's a stain in the carpet, or if it's something going on with my car, or if it's a
Mhm.
website issue, or something going on in Facebook or Meta today. I
Mhm.
want to get to the bottom of it. That's my
Yeah.
main up. That can be good or bad.
Well, I think it's I one thing I've definitely noticed about you, and I made this transition myself from being problem oriented to being solution oriented. You're completely solution oriented, and you have to be in business, or you're not going to be successful, and you'll just be riddled with anxiety. So, and I admire that very, very much, and I think that that's one of the reasons why you've had such longevity in this business, and you have so many clients. So that leads to my next question. I know you in your capacity of working with service-based businesses. Um, and is that primarily what you work with, service-based businesses like painters, electricians, plumbers, or do you also work with retailers?
So I primarily work with service based and home remodeling simply
Yeah.
because that was kind of my niche. But what has
Mhm.
happened over the years is, I get referrals and they're from my dear clients, and I want
Mm.
to,
You wanna
help.
help? Sure.
So I have
Understand.
taken on some kind of one offs. I have a restaurant, it's kind of a pub. I've worked with them for a
Mhm.
couple of years. I have he's like he's a nurse practitioner, mental health. And
Mhm.
what happens is, I think the home remodeling, you can do a lot of long-term projections, long-term
Mhm.
buys.
Sure.
Restaurants is kind of like, hey, what's happening today?
Right. Are we doing a
What's
special
happening
today?
this week? An
Yeah.
event or a menu change. So it's kind of fun to mix it up, but it's also frustrating because my mind has always been long-term strategy. But I think
Mhm.
it keeps me on my toes doing a few different things.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I
Because
do
I
some events every once in a while, like the Home Builders Association, or, like if they have a certain budget for an event, I can try to help with that media buy. So it's a one off, but I don't know if
Mhm.
that answers the question.
So, what types of service-based businesses have you worked with?
Well,
And
certainly Goodpaster.
right, good
So
pastor.
Goodpaster does painting, gutters, and roofing. And when began to work with them as a consultant, they were already working with
Yeah.
you on
Yep.
certainly lots of their digital stuff. I
Mhm.
work with Quality Fence Company,
Yep.
uh, a local fence gate.
Yeah.
Chattanooga Paint and Decorating. They have 3
Yep.
locations locally.
Mhm.
Uh, there's a handful of others. The pub that I mentioned is called North River Pub. It's in Hickson. They have
Oh,
food, beer. They do
maybe I should go there and just try.
live.
Try. I've never eaten there, and I mean, and we're
Maybe
almost
maybe we will meet there
yeah,
sometime.
that would
That
be
would
fun.
be
I
fun.
love pubs. Absolutely. I'm a
Um,
pub girl. Love it. So
okay, we'll work on that next.
all
My
right.
my main thing in my business model is I don't, and I know it's just me, so I only have so much capacity, but I don't want to take on direct competitors. Just
Mhm.
because, they're directly competing with each other
Sure.
locally. I've turned some people away, but I also have some good referrals maybe to give them. But
Sure.
I've got a pool business. They're rebranding right now. They do like maintenance on pools opening and closing. So most of them are home remodeling. And
Mhm.
then um, the doctor, nurse practitioner is just all virtual. So I just help
Oh.
him with his Google business. He spends half his time in Florida, half his time in Tennessee. So it's, you
Oh, how
know,
wonderful.
I,
That sounds great. It's a dream job, a dream career.
I, yeah, except for you got to listen to people's problems all day. So maybe he's like, gets a little overwhelmed. I'm not sure.
I get yeah, I can see that, almost like being a pastor or something. They also
Right.
listen to problems all day. So, yeah, and I
They're
could see it having to be
special
divided
people.
up. Yeah, go to Florida, try to enjoy and does he only see his clients virtually? Is that what you were saying? Virtually?
Yeah,
I mean, that's actually really neat. That creates kind of a division, and not a division, but at least a boundary where he can establish some boundaries. Because I know
yeah,
in
you think. And like I've been through counseling at various stages in my life, and I just think to myself, if you had to sit and listen to people, whatever's going on in their life all day long, that would have to
oh,
be tremendous. They need
oh my
their own
god.
special counselor and
Yeah,
medication.
you
I
get
don't know.
PTSD just being the counselor, listening
You
to all this stuff
you
out
would
loud,
have
right?
to, or have
Yeah.
some type of mechanism to function.
Yeah. So, okay, my next question is um, AI. So, AI is really changing the digital landscape and it is rapidly, rapidly changing everything. So, what are your thoughts on AI presently? And how do you think it's affecting marketing? And then my next question after that is, and I'll just tell you, how do you see it in the long term affecting the marketing strategies of service-based businesses and even restaurants? I mean, in a sense, they're service-based too. They're providing a service, so
Well, in short, I think it's important. We're in the right age for
yes.
it, and we need to
Yeah,
embrace it and
I
use it.
agree.
Um,
Yes.
People like us, we need to do our research and find what's working in each one. But I also want to recognize that it's new, it's learning, it's getting a tremendous amount of just attention and investment.
Mhm.
That
Yes.
my biggest concern is some type of bubble. Um, I even tell most of my clients, yeah, let's pay attention to it. Let's watch it, but
Mhm,
don't
mhm,
get your hooks into any one of them because anyone
mhm.
could go away at any moment. We're
At
in
any
this
moment. Yeah.
learning. So I think it's important and we need to embrace it and it'll sort itself out, but I don't know what that looks like.
Yeah, I guess it's one of these things where we just have to watch it and see how it's changing and evolving. I have had some people say to me that they're excited about it and it's wonderful. And then I actually had one client say that he wanted nothing to do with it. And I thought, well, my lord, you'll have a different opinion in a year. That's what I said. In 1 year,
Yeah.
you will
You
have a different.
can't say I'm not gonna have anything to
Yeah,
do with
you
it.
can't.
That's like
It's
saying
like
I'm
saying
not
I'm not gonna drive a car. I'm not gonna drive a car. I mean,
gonna.
I mean, come on.
You have to embrace it, but with your
Yeah.
own. And this is kind of what I tell my kids even, and they're teenagers, one's a young adult. You
Mhm.
and you look at the data, you look at the new research, you look at new technologies, but they all have their own place. The most
Mhm.
important factor is your own brain, your own
Yes.
critical thinking. If
Yes.
you can take all of the information, but still rely on what you know and your own knowledge to make a decision, that's where the key is.
Mhm. I absolutely agree. I think that it's a way to help us with our tasks right now. It you know,
Correct.
it's we still need human beings, but we are all overloaded, and we can hand some of it off to AI employees, and they can handle some of the
Absolutely.
drudge work that we should not have to be doing.
Well,
Yes.
and just like data we get from Google or Facebook, they're the ones providing it. Use
Mhm.
it a little bit, but
Use that.
still
Yeah.
use your brain.
Yeah. I mean, we should all be reasonable people, and we should be able to use our brains and use this AI to help our businesses.
Should
And
is the key word there. Yes, I agree.
yeah, should. So, all right. So, we're gonna show at some point here soon, we're gonna show the website for Goodpaster Painting.
Okay,
Yep, here
great.
it is.
Yeah,
Because I know that you are, an advocate for Goodpaster, and you assist them with all of their marketing, whether it's digital or print or billboards or whatever, you help them with that. So there that is. And of course, that's not the only business that you represent. You have others. Do you
no,
want
but
to
yeah.
um, do you wanna say anything else, just kind of, about yourself real fast here in these last
Well,
30
I would just
seconds?
say that Good Pastor's a great company, a great partner. They've been local for over 20 years. They do great work, and I feel fortunate to work with them. And that's how I got to meet you. So,
Yeah, amen. I know that often when I'm driving down the road, I will see their signs, on, electrical poles all the
yeah,
time, Good Pasture Painting.
that's
I saw them.
a
It's a really good
marketing tool that
tip. Thank you.
it's worked for them.
Christy, thank you for joining us today.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
and I will see you soon. This is Chat with Kat. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.